Hello, hello! Pizza Pax here, and we're back with our second commander deck from Tarkir Dragonstorm. This is Abzan Armor. Play defenders, turn toughness into power. Right, let's get into this. Show the true spirit of the Abzan. Nice. Alright, so we have our commander booster sample pack. We'll add to our stack of them. That will be its own video after the commander decks. We have a little pamphlet this time around that folds out into a portrait and two little blurbs about the face commanders, Felithar the Steadfast and Beltor Ancestor's Voice. Overview of the commander rules, quick overview of the deck, and then Magic Color Pie. This is a lie. The Color Pie is no more. Then we have a themed tuck box. So, not a bad one. It's nice that they're back to the themed tuck boxes. Star of the show, our deck. And six counters rather. I do find it rather distressing that they keep giving us less and less in these commander decks, but that is the way of the world, I guess. Let's pull in and go over the deck. Okay. All right. So starting things off, need to refocus. So we have our face commander, Felithar the Steadfast. 1 white, black, green for a 0/5 legendary human warrior. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So the old Dorian, the siege tower mechanic, which actually existed before that, but Dorian's the big one for commander. Let's see. Creatures you control attack as though they didn't have defender. Nice. 3, tap, sacrifice another creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness, then discard cards equal to its power. Okay, so crack out the all your old walls. Second one, we have Beltor, Ancestor's Voice. 2 white, black, green for a 3/5 legendary creature spirit dragon with flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of +1/+1 counters on up to one other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Then return up to one target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana, or with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, it's both sides of that. So if you have ways of paying life and gaining life, it's pretty good. Friend of mine's boyfriend has a really cool Beltor Ancestor's Voice deck that they've built that I got to play with this past weekend. And I'm not big on commander, and yeah, that says something. Protector of the Wastes. 4 white for a 5/5 dragon with flying. Whenever this creature enters or becomes monstrous, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments controlled by different players. 4 and a white, monstrosity 3. If this creature isn't monstrous, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it and it becomes monstrous. It's the old Theros mechanic. Let's come back. Reunion of the House. 5 white for a sorcery. Return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Reunion of the House. Okay, so fun thing about this and cards with negative power or with 0 power. That is also included in that 10. So the Scourge of It's not Scourge of the Fells, it's Scourge of something. The one where its power is, you know, minus however much equal to your life total. Or Death's Shadow, for example. Really good things to bring back with this, because that ups what you can bring back by quite a bit. Because algebra is fun. Well, it's not actually algebra, but, you know. Tree of Redemption, 3 and a green for a 0/13 plant with Defender. Tap, exchange your life total with this creature's toughness. There's also Tree of Perdition, which I would be surprised if it is not in this deck. Let's see. Ikra Siddiqui, the Usurper. It's funny, I actually know someone with that last name. 3 black-green for a 3/7 legendary creature snake wizard with Menace. Let's see. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, partner. You may have 2 commanders if both have partner. So that is a secret other commander you could have. Jaws of Defeat, 3 and a black enchantment. Whenever a creature you control enters, target opponent loses life equal to the difference between that creature's power and its toughness. Okay. That's pretty nasty in something like this. Tip the scales. 2 and a black, sorcery. Sacrifice a creature. When you do, all creatures get -X/-X until end of turn, where X is a sacrificed creature's toughness. That's pretty neat. Will of the Abzan, 3 and a black, sorcery, choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast this, you may choose both instead. Any number of target opponents each sacrifice a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls and loses 3 life. Or, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So worst case, it's a Zombify. Arbor Adherent. Okay, 3 and a green for a 2/4 dog druid. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, and then tap, add X mana of any 1 color, where X is the greatest toughness among other creatures you control. Okay, so that with the Tree of Perdition, or the other tree that we just saw, it's a bunch of mana. Rampart Architect, 3 and a green for a 3/4 Elephant Advisor. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, create a 1/3 white wall creature token with Defender. Whenever a creature you control with Defender dies, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Oh, fun. That plus sacrifice effects with your Defenders be pretty crazy. You could also just toss Walls combo in here, now that I think about it. Oh, no, you don't have blue for... You don't have blue for that. Doesn't work. If there is I think there's an enchantment or an equipment, something along those lines, where you can pay some amount of mana to untap. But, like, if you had green for this, Pemin's Aura or Freed from the Real, anything along those lines would work for that. Oh, you know what? Marvin, Pelipala, and the green thing that taps for... The green wall that taps for your Defenders would give you infinite mana in this instance. And, I mean, that would happen anyway, but that works really well with searching for Defenders, or searching for lands with Defender. Canopy Guardian. I'm getting off track. Canopy Guardian, 5 green for a 7/7 dragon with flying and ward 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a number of +1/+1 counters on each other creature you control equal to that creature's toughness. Huh. That is very strong. Balden, Century Herdmaster. 4 white for a 0/7 legendary human warrior. During your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Okay, so it does the same thing as one of the commanders. Whenever Balden attacks, up to 1 up to 100 target creatures each get +0/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Up to 100. Okay, that's genuinely silly. That is so silly. On theme, but silly. Expel the Interlopers. 3 white. Sorcery. Destroy all, or choose a number between 0 and 10. Destroy all creatures with power greater than or equal to the chosen number. I believe this was just printed into standard recently. It's an interesting one, though. Indomitable Ancients. 2 white for a 2/10 Treefolk Warrior. And it's just a vanilla 2/10. Okay. If Doran the Siege Tower isn't in this deck, I'm going to be upset. Rux Faithmender. 3 and a white for a 1/5 Rhino Monk with lifelink. If you would gain life, instead you gain twice that much. So you gain twice that much instead. Keep in mind this is a replacement effect. It only applies once, for instance. So no, it does not get you infinite life, which is something I have had someone try to argue. Shalai, Voice of Plenty. This was a fun card when it was in standard. 3 and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature angel with flying. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. 4 green, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Nice. Wakestone Gargoyle. 3 and a white for a 3/4 creature gargoyle with defender and flying. 1 and a white, creatures you control with defender can attack this turn as though they didn't have defender. Nice. Wall of Reverence. Oh, that takes me back. 3 and a white for a 1/6 Spirit Wall with defender and flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control. This is just a fun card when it was in standard. Welcoming Vampire. 2 and a white for a 2/3 vampire with flying. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. Zatalpa, Primal Dawn. 6 white for a legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, with flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Yep, just keyword soup. Arasta of the Endless Web. 2 green for 3/5 legendary enchantment creature, Spider, with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider insect, or a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. I always want to think that it's also an insect token, and it's not. It's never an insect token as well. Just brains. Assault Formation. 1 and a green enchantment. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. For a green, target creature with defender can attack this turn as though it didn't have defender. And then 2 and a green, creatures you control get +1 or +0/+1 until end of turn. Oh, there is a card. I think it was from Kamigawa block that gives all your creatures like +0/+7, something like that. That would be really good for this deck. Hornet Nest. 2 and a green for a 0/2 insect with defender. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, create that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens of flying and death touch. Nice. Also, if you have a way to just ping this, you can make a thing each turn. Seedborn Muse. Wow, okay, so we're just putting... This was rather pricey until recently, I believe. Might actually still be pretty pricey. 3 green for a 2/4 spirit. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. I believe this is also on the Game Changer list, but I could be wrong. Very nice. Sylvan Caryatid. 1 and a green for a 0/3 plant with defender and hexproof. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Good. Just mana dork. Towering Titan. 4 green for a 0/0 giant. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control. Sacrifice a creature with defender. All creatures gain trample until end of turn. That's pretty cool. Anguished Unmaking. 1 white-black for an instant. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. Good clean removal. Dragonlord Dramoka. Hey. This is one of those cards that it just keeps sticking around because it does something really cool that nothing else really does. But 4 green-white for 5/7. Legendary creature Elder Dragon. This spell can't be countered. Flying, lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Just a whole bunch of good stuff. Fabro Elder. 1 green-white for a 0/0 Treefolk Druid with Vigilance. This creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. And then tap for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. So at the very least, in most instances, it taps for green-white. Which is pretty nice on a 3 mana dork. Shadrick's Silverquill. 3 white-black for a 2/5 legendary Elder Dragon with flying and double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Or target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Okay. Next up we have Sidar Kondo of Jamura. 2 green-white for a 2/5 legendary human knight with flanking. So whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. Partner. So this goes along with the other partner guy. Conifer's Urn. 3 mana artifact. Whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more creatures have been exiled with this artifact, sacrifice it. If you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. That's pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure there's some interesting loops you can do with this. Staff of Completion. 3 mana artifact. Tap, pay a life, destroy target permanent you own. Tap, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. Tap, pay 3 life, proliferate. Tap, pay 4 life, draw a card. 5, untap this artifact. Very similar to Staff of Domination, except not quite as good. Weathered Sentinels. 3 mana artifact, or 3 mana 2/5 artifact creature wall. Defender, Vigilance, Reach, Trample. This creature can attack players who attacked you during their last turn as though it didn't have Defender. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains Indestructible until end of turn. Oh, that's pretty sweet. So you have Canopy Vista. It's a forest plains that enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands, so it's one of the Tango lands. Exotic Orchard taps for 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Overgrown Farmland. Hey, this is one of the ones from is it Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow? This land enters tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, and then taps for a green or a white. Fortified Village. As it enters, you may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Isolated Chapel taps for a green or a white for both of those. Isolated Chapel enters tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp, and then taps for a white or a black. Sungrass Prairie filters 1 into green-white. Sunpetal Grove enters tapped unless you control a forest or a plains. Taps for a green or a white. Temple of Malady. Enters tapped. When it enters, you scry 1 and then tap for a black or a green. Temple of Plenty, same but for green-white. Temple of Silence, same but for white-black. Twilight Mire, nice. It's when the filter lands. Taps for colorless and then filters a black or a green into any combination of 2 black or green. So black, 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 green, or green, green. Woodland Cemetery enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a forest, and then taps for black or a green. Arcane Signet, Commander Staple, 2-mana artifact that taps for your commander's color identity. Soul Ring, we all know what it does. 1-mana artifact that taps for 2. Command Tower, another staple, taps for a commander's color identity. Nyx Fleece Ram, oh, I haven't seen this one in forever. 1 and a white for a 0/5 enchantment creature sheep. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. Used to be an absolute staple in standard when it was standard legal. Slaughter the Strong. 1 white sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, and then sacrifices the other creatures they control. So keep in mind this also applies with Death Shadow and the Scourge of whatever its name was. You can have negative power on things, which is very silly. But only for effects like that ask you to total up the thing, the power. Swords to Plowshares, greatest piece of removal ever printed. For a white, it's an instant. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Wall of Omens. 1 and a white for a 0/4 wall with Defender. When it enters, draw a card. Still a fantastic card. Wall of Blossoms would also be a decent addition to this deck. Overgrown Battlement. That's the name of the wall that taps for each creature you control with Defender. I'm trying to remember that. Wingmantle Chaplain. 3 and a white for a 0/3 human cleric with Defender. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying for each creature with Defender you control. Whenever another creature you control with Defender enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Well now, that's an interesting one. Behind the Scenes. 2 and a black enchantment. Creatures you control have Skulk. For those of you who do not remember Skulk, because it was only printed for a short period of time, they can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Blight Pile. 1 and a black for a 3/3 Phyrexian with Defender. 2 and a black. Tap. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creatures with Defender you control. I would be genuinely saddened if Overgrown Battlement isn't also in this deck. Feed the Swarm. 1 and a black, sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. Okay, good way to get rid of enchantments in black. Infernal Grasp. 1 and a black, instant, destroy target creature. You lose 2 life. Wall of Limbs. 2 and a black for a 0/3 zombie wall with Defender. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. 5 black, sacrifice this creature. Target player loses X life, where X is this creature's power. That's pretty cool. Arboreal Grazer. Hey. Amulet Titan All-Star. For a green, it's a 0/3 Sloth Beast with Reach. When this creature enters, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Axebane Guardian. Hey, that's another good one. This fulfills the same role as Overgrown Battlement. 2 and a green for a 0/3 Human Druid with Defender. Tap, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the number of creatures you control with Defender. Carven Caryatid. 1 green for a 2/5 Spirit with Defender. Whenever this creature enters, draw a card. Evolving Wilds. Tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic. Put it on the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle. Jotty Offshoot. For a green, it's a 0/3 plant with Defender. Whenever a land you control enters, you gain 1 life. Very nice. Overgrown Battlement. Hey, it is in here. Cool. 1 and a green for a 0/4 wall with Defender. Tap, add green for each creature you control with Defender. Sandstep Citadel. It's a land that enters tapped, then taps for a white, black, or green. Tower Defense. 1 and a green, instant. Creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain reach until end of turn. Also great for this strategy. Wall of Blossoms. Hey, it is in here. 1 and a green for a 0/4 plant wall with Defender. Whenever this creature enters, draw a card. Functionally an equivalent of Wall of Omens, just in green. And Wall of Roots. Very nice. 1 and a green for a 0/5 plant wall with Defender. Put a -0/-1 counter on this creature. Add green. Activate only once each turn. I very much prefer the Mirage art for it, but still great. Despark. White-black. Instant. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Very nice. Indulging Patrician. 1 white-black for a 1/4 Vampire Noble with flying and lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. Crashing Drawbridge. Let's see. It's a 0/4 artifact creature wall with Defender. Tap, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Orzhov Signet, 2 mana artifact that filters 1 into white-black. Or pay 1 and tap it to filter into white-black. Same Celestia Signet, same but for green-white. Swiftfoot Boots, 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equip 1. Nice. Walking Bulwark. 1 mana 0/3 artifact creature golem with Defender. 2 until end of turn. Target creature with Defender gains haste. Can attack as though it didn't have Defender and assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Activate only as a sorcery. Access Tunnel, aka Secret Tunnel. 1 mana artifact, taps for colorless, and then 3 and tap. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. Deceptive Landscape. Tap for colorless, and then tap and sacrifice. Search your library for a basic plains, swamp, or forest card. Put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. It has cycling for 1 green, or for white, green, black. Bajuka Bog, one of the best utility lands ever printed. Enters tapped. When it enters, you exile target player's graveyard and then taps for a black. Path of Ancestry, enters tapped. Tap, add 1 mana of any color of your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Radiant Grove. It's a forest plains that enters tapped. I believe this is one of the ones from Dominaria United. Then we have our basics. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plains. Swamp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swamps. Then forests, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests. We have some tokens. We have a 1/3 wall with Defender. On the back, it is a 1/2 spider with reach. We have a 2/1 inkling with flying. On the back, it is a 1/1 insect with flying and death touch. Then we have a 1/1 bird token with flying. And a 1/2 inkling with flying on the back. Then another 1/3 wall with Defender. That is a 1/1 flying death touch insect. Then we have a 1/2 spider with reach. That is a 1/1 bird with flying. Another 1/3 wall with Defender. It has a 1/2 spider with reach on the back. An inkling, so 2/1 flyer with a 1/1 flying death touch insect on the back. 1/1 bird flyer with a 2/1 flying inkling on the back. Another 1/3 wall with defender that has a 1/1 flying death touch insect on the back, and a 1/2 spider with reach, and a 1/1 bird with flying on the back. We have a turn order reminder card and a popular formats on the back. All right, well, thank you for joining me on this adventure with Abzan Armor. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the algorithm. It really helps us out, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.